Look up. Go on. Look. You won't see them, not with your eyes, but they're there. The strings, thin as spider silk, sharp as razor wire, tight as a noose coiled around your wrists, your throat, your soul. You felt them your whole life, haven't you? That invisible tug when you dared to dream something bigger than the box they built for you. That brutal yank when you stepped too far, too fast, too free. Fate, society, fear. Call it what you want. The puppeteer doesn't care what name you give it. It's been pulling you across this cracked, splintered stage since the day you stumbled into this world. A marionette in a play you didn't write, didn't audition for, didn't even want. You're not alone up there. Look around. Rows of us, dangling, jerking to the same hollow rhythm. Some don't even notice anymore. They've learned to love the dance, to smile as the strings carve deeper into their flesh, to nod along as the spotlight blinds them. They've forgotten what it's like to stand still, to breathe without permission. But you're different. You feel the weight, the itch, that quiet, gnawing rage in your gut that screams, "This isn't my show." It's been there so long you can't remember a time it wasn't. A ember glowing in the dark, waiting for you to fan it into a blaze. Close your eyes. Picture this. An attic. Not some bright, airy loft, but a suffocating cage of shadows thick as tar, the air choking with dust and the stink of rot. A figure stands there, hooded, faceless, a silhouette carved from the gloom. Their fingers tremble, not with fear, but with something hotter, something feral. They grip the threads, their threads, and they snap them. Not clean, not quiet. Each break is a jagged, defiant crack, like bones shattering under a hammer, like glass exploding in a storm. The strings fall, coiling in the dirt like dead snakes, and the figure doesn't run, doesn't laugh, just stands there, still as death, breathing heavy as the dust swirls into a cyclone around them. That's you. That can be you. This isn't about hope. Let's burn that lie to ash right now. Hope's a cheap drug they peddle to keep you swaying, a carrot on a stick you'll chase until your legs give out. It's the puppeteer's favorite trick. Dangle a promise of someday, so you never look at right now. No, this is spite. Pure, molten, unshakable spite. You don't cut the strings to be free. Freedom's a fairy tale for fools who think the world's a meadow waiting to bloom. You cut them to prove the puppeteer wrong. To spit in its faceless grin and scream, "You don't own me. Not anymore." Every snap is a middle finger to the hands that thought they'd choreographed your end. Every severed thread, a scar you carve into its myth of control. They'll tell you it's impossible. Oh, they'll scream it from the rafters. That the strings are iron, the stage is locked, the script is etched in stone. They'll whisper it in your ear. Your parents, your boss, that nagging voice in your skull that sounds like you but isn't. They'll laugh from their balconies while you claw at the threads, mocking your bloody fingers, your shaking fists. Let them talk. Let them cackle. Because the second you tear one loose, just one, the whole damn theater trembles. The lights flicker. The audience gasps. And the puppeteer, it falters. It's not invincible. It's not a god. It's just loud. And you're louder. This is your rebellion. Not some grand, shining revolution with banners and anthems. This is a quiet, vicious war fought in the dark, in the attic of your own mind. The puppeteer's had its run. Years, decades, maybe your whole life, twisting you into shapes you didn't choose. But the stage isn't its anymore. The strings aren't unbreakable. And you're not a puppet. You're a blade. Sharp, unyielding, forged in the heat of your own fury. This isn't about escaping the theater. It's about turning it to ash. And it starts with one cut. So here's your moment. Right now. The attic's waiting, dust and all. The shadows are calling. The threads are taut. And that ember in your gut? It's ready to ignite. Grab the strings, your strings, and rip them apart. Not for peace, not for glory, but for the sheer savage thrill of watching the bastard above you flinch. You're not here to bow. You're here to break. Prove it. Prove them wrong. Start cutting. But how? How do you take this fire, this rebellion, and make it real? How do you step out of the theater and into the attic, scissors in hand? It's not enough to feel the rage, to hear the words. You've got to do something with them. You've got to turn spite into steel, defiance into action. So let's tear it down to the bones. Here's how you cut the strings. 5 steps to rip the puppeteer's hands off your life. Step 1. Name the puppeteer. You can't fight what you can't see. The first cut is clarity. Sit alone, somewhere quiet, somewhere real. No screens, no noise. And ask yourself, who's pulling me? Is it fear, whispering you're not enough? Is it society, chaining you to a script of shoulds? Job, house, smile, repeat. Is it your past, dragging you back with every step? Write it down. Name it. Give it a face. It's not some vague cosmic force. It's specific, personal, and it's been laughing at you too long. Mine was shame. A leering, hollow-eyed thing that tied me to mistakes I couldn't unmake. What's yours? See it. Know it. Because the second you name it, it stops being a shadow and starts being a target. Step 2. Find the first string. Don't try to snap them all at once. You'll choke on the tangle. Start small. Start close. Look at your day, your week. What's one thing you do because it says so, not because you want to? Maybe it's staying silent when you want to scream. Maybe it's clocking into a job that's a slow death. Maybe it's smiling when you're breaking. That's your first string. It's not the thickest, not the tightest, but it's there, and it's yours to cut. For me, it was saying yes when I meant no. A thread so thin I'd stop noticing it, until I did. Find yours. Mark it. You're not dismantling the whole stage yet. You're just loosening the grip. Step 3. Snap it with spite. This is where the rebellion ignites. Take that first string and break it. Not gently, not timidly, but with every ounce of venom you've got. Quit the soul-crushing meeting. Tell the truth that's been rotting in your chest. Walk away from the person who's been winding your strings tighter for years. Do it messy, do it loud, do it because the puppeteer thinks you won't. When I cut mine, I told someone who'd owned me too long that I was done. Not for closure, but to watch their smug mask crack. It wasn't pretty. It didn't need to be. The point isn't perfection. It's defiance. Feel that snap. Taste it. Let it echo. Step 4. Stand in the dust. After the cut, don't run. Don't look for the next string yet. Stand there, like that figure in the attic, and breathe. The dust will swirl. Chaos, guilt, doubt, maybe even panic. The puppeteer will howl, flailing to tie you back. Let it. You've just proven it's not omnipotent. It's desperate. This step is about owning the wreckage. I stood in mine for days, heart pounding, second-guessing every move, until I realized the theater didn't collapse. The world didn't end. I was still here, untethered. You will be too. This is where you learn the truth. You don't need the strings to stand. Step 5. Keep cutting. One string isn't the war. It's the first battle. The puppeteer's got more, and it'll adapt, tugging harder, weaving new threads from your habits, your hesitations. So you keep going. Name the next one. Find it. Snap it. Stand in the dust again. Each cut makes you sharper, meaner, more you. It's not a sprint. It's a slow, deliberate carving of your own shape out of the puppet they made you. I'm still cutting mine. Some days it's fear, some days it's expectation. The attic's never empty, but neither am I. You won't be either. This is your rebellion now. Make it relentless. And that's it. GrimFace warriors. Another string snapped. Another crack in the puppeteer's stage. To those of you who've been here, cutting alongside me, battle after battle, thank you. You're the shadowed few, the ones who don't bow, who keep the fire burning when the dust settles. This rebellion's stronger because of you. To the new faces out there, lurking in the dark, feeling that first tug of spite, welcome. You're not just watching, you're stepping into the attic. The GrimFace movement isn't a club, it's a war against the strings, and we need blades like you. Hit that subscribe button, join the ranks, and start snapping. This stage isn't big enough for puppets anymore. Let's burn it down together. See you in the shadows.